Hello, my name is Jennifer, and I am a divorce financial analyst in Collaborative Financial Neutral. And I'm here today with Christy Tressler.
Hi, I'm Christy Tressler. I'm a board certified family law attorney. I'm also board certified in child welfare law and master's level certified in collaborative law.
Today, we're going to talk a little bit about collaborative and why collaborative, and how families can navigate that as an option in their divorce process.
There are lots of reasons. I think first and foremost, getting a private and customized divorce is really helpful to a lot of people. They don't want to air their dirty laundry in court. They want someone who's really going to listen to them. And a lot of times when we are in court, which I litigate as well, we get in some counties a different judge every single time. It is really difficult post 2020, post COVID, to get settings in a lot of counties. I have cases that have been pending 4 and 5 years that have not gotten to go to final yet.
Hard to get closure when you're waiting 5 years for a final decision.
And we're working with, typically, best case scenario, other experts. So while each party has their own advocate, the job of the attorney or the advocate is not to attack the other party, but to try to meet as many of each of their goals as possible. And then we work with people like you that do the math, can do the walk around the estate, and budgets for the clients. Hugely beneficial.
One of the beautiful things about collaborative, which people don't really understand, is that it keeps clients in command and autonomous and in charge of their destiny. Where in the traditional system, it's really you're waiting for somebody to kind of throw down the gavel and make the decisions for you. Collaborative, you have a financial neutral, there's a mental health neutral, and 2 attorneys at the table. There's a lot of different ideas. There's a lot of creative solutions that are coming out. To your point, there's a lot of sustainable dialogues around cash. What's going to happen with the money after the divorce? How are we going to support our children and our own lifestyles? Those are not conversations that you're having when you have a different judge every time or you're waiting 4 or 5 years to get final decisions. Collaborative really does differentiate the way you can divorce and puts clients in control of their own process. And some of the kickback I get sometimes with collaborative, I don't know about you, is, well, it's going to cost too much money. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think that it's proper to sell it as it's, cheapest. I think it's kind of like buying a car, right? You can buy a used Lexus that will work really well. You can buy, I don't know, something really expensive that's going to break, a Ferrari or something, that's going to lose money the minute you drive it off the lot. Or you can get, a beater from the 80s. All of those things will get you to HEB, but they're very different in the way that you get there. And your example of a financial expert, in a lot of my litigation cases, will have maybe someone like you, a forensic person that's testifying, but we'll have competing experts. Mm-hmm. And so people spend tens of thousands of dollars on psychologists, on financial experts when they're fighting, and they're blaming instead of being future focused.
And in collaborative, there is one financial person that's kind of commanding and controlling the process. And what I tell families all the time is, not only am I your financial neutral and your teammate, but I also protect the collaborative process in making sure we're staying transparent, making sure that all the information is shared at the same, to all the same people, and that everybody has the same level of acumen and education and understanding. And I also like to say collaborative is not the cheapest, but compared to litigation, where you could spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, the dollars are back into the estate of our families. The only people that win in litigation are us,
right?
Because of our fees and what we collect. So you can walk into a courthouse, you can get your own divorce, but you're not going to have the creative minds at the table helping you make unique decisions. And then sometimes the complexity around the estate really does need a unique parenting plan for that mental health professional. You need that strong legal mind for some backup and understanding and support, and some creative financial solutions. How does somebody get started with collaborative? How do we originate cases?
Well, it varies, right? A lot of times we'll get referrals from mental health professionals. A lot of times it's former clients. Sometimes people go to the internet and they Google stuff and find out. But it seems to be coming back quite a bit, I think, post-pandemic. It's probably 30-40% of my caseload in around 2008 or so, and then the economy dipped. And my theory on it is people got so angry at each other by the time they came back and were able to get a divorce, they were fighting.
They just
There was
wanted it done.
so lot of
Yeah.
litigation.
And I'm seeing a resurgence with collaborative as well since the pandemic, especially now that we're back into a hybrid model of meeting in person and meeting on video. But to originate a case, I think one of the best things people can do is to call an attorney trained in collaborative, get a consult maybe with you, talk to you about it, then you can recommend other collaboratively trained attorneys. And I originate a ton of cases as well, and I know mental health professionals do as well. So anybody that is trained in collaborative can have a good, thoughtful conversation with clients about collaborative. And I think that is helpful for people to understand that collaborative is an option in addition to mediation, in addition to litigation. And litigation should really be the last option.
Absolutely. I usually tell my clients that litigation is your right. That's your legal right. Everything else is going to require some level of agreement and cooperation between you and the person you're divorcing, or if you're doing a modification or something like that. We even do prenups sometimes collaboratively.
Absolutely.
Especially
Yeah.
with a financial person.
Yeah, but definitely. We do a lot of, I love collaborative prenuptials. Everybody thinks I'm crazy, but that's a great time to get creative, talk about finances, think about all the things you want to do in the future, get your expectations out, and do it in a way that everybody's being honored in the process. So let's say families that are watching this think, okay, we're cooperative, we're amicable, we want to work to restructure our family in a positive way. I want to get started with collaborative. I understand I can get started with collaborative. What do those meetings look like? Now they're starting. They've done it. They're onboarding. What's next?
So typically what will happen is both clients will meet first with the mental health professional to talk about their goals and interests for the process, which there's usually a lot of overlap. And then we'll schedule what we call joint meetings, but those are the 2-hour meetings. And then the first meeting is usually setting the table, professionals talking most of the time. Second meeting is usually the financial professional.
Yeah.
Information gathering, the stuff that we do in litigation anyway, but we do it through the discovery process, interrogatories, requests for production,
Right.
depositions,
Right.
So, and that is more expensive.
Yes.
It just is by the nature of it.
Right. So between the first meeting and the second meeting, that's really where the financial professional steps in and gathers all the data, gets it organized in a format that we can all understand. And then we review that in the second, what we call joint collaborative meeting, where everybody's sitting down together at the conference room table. And then we tend to schedule a series of meetings after that where we're massaging or getting more information, we're getting more details on the estate, where we might be talking about options. And then in between those meetings, everybody's kind of doing work offline, right? You might be meeting with your client, I might be meeting with another client, the other spouse. We're all kind of getting things together so that we can start making decisions around the settlement option generation meeting, which can happen the third or fourth meeting.
Correct. Yeah, I think it has a lot more efficiency to it. And a lot of times I'll get questions of, well, why can't we just do a kitchen table or an agreed case? And we do those in our practice, and I know you have some clients that do that as well. My worry with that is I see people that if they really aren't already agreed on all of the big things, if they have children, what does the custody schedule look like? What does parenting time look like? What do their finances look like? Do they both really know what they have? And are they secure in their budget going forward post-divorce? If they can't agree on that, a lot of times it derails, and then it's almost impossible for us to pull them back into a collaborative process, and they end up in litigation.
Right. So I think the communication that we really need to make sure people understand is collaborative meetings are structured. They have agendas. They have homework assignments. They're broken up. You don't feel like it's a 9-hour marathon to make all your decisions in one day like a traditional mediation. And then at the end of the process, they have the exact same thing they could have had via mediation or litigation, but through a process where they were able to make their own decisions for themselves. And I see collaborative cases go anywhere between 6 and 9 months, and I think that's a good time frame to think about. As long as you're progressive and moving forward in good faith and effort, then that tends to be, just with calendaring and schedules, that tends to be a very, very reasonable time frame, and compared to forward 2 years or 3 years, potentially 5 years on the docket, that is a much better way to close out a family's story, that chapter in the restructuring of their new family. So I do think if collaborative is a consideration, it is important to consider with all your options, and it's one of the most highly emotionally grounded ways that you can think about doing divorce.